Ghost Rider is the spirit of vengeance. One thing I know from stories I've read and pain I've personally felt is that vengeance is all-consuming and, of course, never sleeps. Welcome back, Nerd Squad. It's me, Amanda, and today we'll be counting down the top 10 unstoppable alternate versions of Ghost Rider. What alternate versions of characters are your favorite? Ones from other universes, or ones who are mashups of mantles with different characters? Number 10. Falcon. While there have been many different Ghost Riders across time and the multiverse, sometimes we only have to look as far as our own 616 backyard to find some really unstoppable versions of this character. And this includes when Falcon himself was turned into a Ghost Rider. This all went down during Doctor Strange Damnation issue number 1, where Doctor Strange basically made a bet against Mephisto and lost that bet, who at that time had basically taken over Las Vegas and had bigger plans in regards to world domination, or should I say damnation. When Falcon was transformed into a Ghost Rider, he also carried with him his skills and abilities as a hero, which made him a pretty tough one to face when Strange's Midnight Suns were called into action. When he was pulled over to the Ghost Rider side, it was in a moment of weakness when he and the other Avengers let their differences get in the way of them saving people, which basically resulted in them beginning to fight in the midst of trying to respond to the chaos that was happening in Las Vegas. And friends, before we move on to our next spot on this list, if you love what we do here at Top 10 Nerd, be sure to let us know by clicking that like button. Number 9. Ghost Rider 2099. The Ghost Rider of the future is basically like the Terminator. Kenshiro Zero Cochrane was attempting a hack with his gang when they were attacked by a rival gang, who basically attempted to steal the encrypted data that they had successfully stolen, but hadn't yet cracked themselves. In the end, Zero's gang was killed and Zero himself was in the process of dying, so he decided to upload the encrypted data in his last few moments to his girlfriend before attempting to fry the implants in his own head so that the gang wouldn't get any information from him in regards to what they were looking for. When he awoke, he was in cyberspace and ended up being offered a place in the world once more as a futuristic spirit of vengeance, given a second chance by advanced AI, who saw the world to be on the verge of collapse, where corporations would in essence devour and basically destroy everything. As a basically fully cybernetic Ghost Rider, Zero has the benefit of having a body that is completely made out of weapons, with him being uploaded into, in essence, a war machine. He also has the benefit of never really being able to die, as he could always just be re-uploaded into another bot if need be. Kinda like exists in like the cyberspace. Number 8. Black Panther. Black Panther is another character who ended up being pulled over to the side of Mephisto, seemingly becoming a member of Mephisto's Ghost Rider Avengers in the series Doctor Strange Damnation for a brief time. He's also one of the characters the Midnight Suns are forced to confront. Black Panther has a lot of power all of his own, never mind as a Ghost Rider in addition to that. He's also a pretty insane force to have on your side, especially on Mephisto's side, and operating as one of his Ghost Riders, when you also consider the political power that T'Challa has as the King of Wakanda, and at the time as the leader of the Avengers. Black Panther is one of the Ghost Rider Avengers who greet the Midnight Suns when they first arrive in Las Vegas. They are not solely confronted by him and the other Avengers though, and I suppose calling them Strange's Midnight Suns earlier was a little hasty of me, although that is kind of what happens later, considering the role that Strange plays in this story. Really, it would be more accurate to call this formation of the Midnight Suns Wong's team, perhaps. Wong, one of my favorites. Number 7. Ghost Rider Trail of Tears. This alternate version of Ghost Rider has such a tragic story and is definitely one of those Ghost Riders that would simply never give up. In fact, in a way, him being so unstoppable was kind of his downfall, as this version of Ghost Rider became aware of the curse that basically comes with being the spirit of vengeance. Like, it literally is a curse when you think about it. For this point, we're focusing on a Ghost Rider who is still from the main continuity, but exists in the past. Caleb. Caleb was a free man who managed to acquire freedom for his wife and for himself in and around the time of the American Civil War. I love Caleb not just because he is a super powerful Ghost Rider with some unique abilities, but also because his story feels unstoppable in the sense that, I mean, it's really great. It also comes with a moral that we honestly don't see enough in stories like Ghost Rider, with Caleb at the end basically acknowledging that he is cursed to hunt for vengeance, a quest that will never end. Well, this is, I guess I should more say, although Ghost Rider we do touch on on it a little bit more, but in comics we don't touch on that as much as I think we should. And Caleb realizes that no matter how noble the cause may seem, anyone that hunts for vengeance is basically already damned. Number 6. Mighty Thor. Mighty Thor would have to be one of the most epic characters to have become a Ghost Rider in recent history. I mean, the power of Thor and Mjolnir alone are insane. Combine those with becoming a Ghost Rider and you become pretty undefeatable, I would say. We see this happen in action when Mighty Thor Jane Foster also joins Mephisto's side of the fight against the Midnight Suns in Doctor Strange Damnation. In issue number 3 of the series, Mighty Thor swings her hammer at Blade, and later we see her in one-on-one combat briefly fighting against Dr. Voodoo. Fortunately, that was all that was needed for Johnny Blaze, also fighting alongside the Midnight Suns against Mephisto as opposed to for him, to push ahead and face Mephisto himself. However, it just goes to show how hard it is to actually fight against a Ghost Rider version of Mighty Thor. And even then, Mephisto's Ghost Riders, Mighty Thor included, seem to be doing their job at that point, remaining pretty unstoppable, at least as of issue 3, as Mephisto takes away Johnny's curse, freeing him and making him human again, only so he can basically threaten his now very mortal life. Number 5. Robbie Reyes. Well, not really an alternate in the traditional sense, considering that Robbie is the current main Ghost Rider in the Earth 616 continuity right now. He's not necessarily the first person most think of when it comes to the Ghost Rider mantle, considering that he's the latest one to become the main Ghost Rider in canon, but you know, isn't the person that's been Ghost Rider the longest, I'd say. Fans of the more classic Ghost Rider character likely think of Johnny Blaze, or perhaps, if they were comic fans more in the 90s, Danny Ketch. And while the first person I do think of myself is Robbie at this point, well, maybe like Johnny and then Robbie, it's pretty close between those two, this is why I decided to include him here. Also, it's hard when we talk Ghost Riders, plural, to keep it all multiversal. I mean, there's just so many powerful and amazing Ghost Rider alternate characters that exist just within the main universe. Robbie Reyes may be one of the new riders on the block, but that does not diminish his power or the fact that he often refuses to back down from a fight, even fights that seem completely unwinnable. Number 4. Captain Marvel. Captain Marvel also for a time became a Ghost Rider during Doctor Strange Damnation. In fact, in issue number 4, we see her fight against Doctor Strange himself, taking him on in his own Ghost Rider form. Alas, she is also a pawn of Mephisto's, which means for our heroes in this story, she is just the wrong kind of unstoppable, one they have to battle against, and honestly, you do not want to fight an unstoppable villain, especially one that packs as much of a punch as Carol does on a good day, and who also now has the added bonus of all the Ghost Rider's powers too. Fortunately, Wong has a few tricks up his sleeve, and Carol ends up turning her Ghost Rider wrath on Mephisto in the end, thanks to some major plays Wong made in secret, which are then revealed, of course. He knew Mephisto's weakness, that while he ruled on Earth, his seat in Hell would be vacant, and so he sent Johnny Blaze to his doom, knowing that Johnny, once taken off the board on the earthly plane, would then be free to take over for Mephisto in Hell as its ruler. Pretty smart thinking, Wong. Number 3. Ghost Hammer. Hailing from Warp World, which we got to explore in Infinity Warps when Gamora folded the universe in half and trapped it inside of the Soul Gem, this is a variant that really packs a punch. Speaking of people that can pack a punch. Ghost Hammer, like many from Warp World, is of course a Marvel amalgam character. And not even just that, he's actually an amalgam character of an amalgam character within the Marvel universe. Ghost Hammer is both Ghost Panther and Iron Hammer combined. Ghost Panther is a combination of the characters of both Ghost Rider and Black Panther, and Iron Hammer amalgamates Iron Man and Thor into one character. So combining the two of those characters together, we get one insanely super powerful character that is not made up of just two different characters really, but instead 4 different ones, who have been folded together once and then of course once more to give us Ghost Hammer. Ghost Hammer comes equipped with Mjolnir, which for one of Ghost Hammer's previous forms, Iron Hammer, was also used to help him access the power of his suit. Number 2. Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange becomes probably one of the most powerful Ghost Riders to have ever ghost ridden in Doctor Strange Damnation. Here he attempts to face Mephisto alone and ends up being, well, pretty beaten at first, turned into one of his Ghost Riders. Fortunately, he has bats with him. His ghost doggo ends up possessing Steven to save him from hurting Wong. In the end, after Johnny has become ruler of Mephisto's Hell Dimension, Wong even helps Steven to become something greater, giving him the souls of all the dead Avengers for a brief moment so he doesn't have to feel alone. Aww. In essence, making him an Avenger god. But even before, when he was just a soulless Ghost Rider Doctor Strange, he would have been something fierce to see. The mystic knowledge that Stephen has, combined with the powers of Ghost Rider, I'd say alone are pretty unstoppable. And when you add in a soul from bats possessing Strange's body, you also still end up being unstoppable enough. Even probably while less aware of, the finer details of battle, as I don't think Bats is, like a master tactician or anything like that. Bats, though, still could go head to head with Ghost Rider Captain Marvel, which I think speaks for itself. That's still pretty impressive. Number 1. Cosmic Ghost Rider. Maybe one of the most unstoppable versions of Ghost Rider around, definitely on this list, is Cosmic Ghost Rider. Cosmic Ghost Rider first appeared on the scene back in the 2017 Thanos series, and right away he became a very strange but very obvious fan favorite. I personally am one of the people that love him. He is one of the most ultimate Ghost Riders because he is also like the Punisher, an anti-hero well known for his ability to bulldoze through most of his enemies despite really just being a human without any real superpowers to speak of himself. He is also of course known for his ability to never give up, and this is showcased during his time as Cosmic Ghost Rider. Even with all of those he knew and loved from Earth gone and defeated by Thanos upon his return, Frank Castle still sought vengeance. And even after that was not possible, he regrettably joined up as Thanos' herald and still kept going somehow. He died, went to Valhalla, and then returned to have some time traveling adventures after Odin realized he wasn't really super happy there and didn't really quite fit in. That's all we have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, you stay nerdy, YouTube. Bye!